Now, Henderson is making her 18th start of the season. She's only had one top 10 finish so far. However, she's 21st in birdies made and 28th in scoring average. As promised, let's bring Mark Zecchino in for much more. Mark, we know this hasn't been Brooke's best season so far. What are you hoping to see from her this week?
What I'm hoping for is really just some continuation of some better form from her last start. It's so easy to point to the strokes gain approach numbers. If you go back to 2022, when she had the two victories, she won at the Evian, she won the ShopRite. She was one of the best iron players in the world, and she was just one of the best ball strikers in the world. Second in strokes gain total that season on the LPGA Tour, which just kind of set up everything. Her strokes gain off the tee sets up the iron play, etc., etc. This year, everything's a little down, almost in every ball striking category in comparison to where she was in 2022. So it's easy to say that everything kind of just sets up that iron play. And part of that is true. But at the end of the day, the iron play is so far off the norm that I think there's something maybe specific going on there. So what I'd like to see is a bit of a continuation of what we've seen recently, which is a little bit better ball striking. Let's get some greens in regulation and let's get off to a nice, easy start on Thursday. Let's go hit 14, 15 greens. Give yourself a lot of looks and put up an opening score with a 6 in front of it.
Well, Bob, for years, we've been used to seeing Brooke Henderson winning multiple times in an LPGA Tour season. Just the one top 10 so far. How do you explain the season for her?
It's really hard to explain. I don't even think she can really explain it. She's talked about different things with her game that she's not comfortable with. This is a tough week to bring her in on this one. I mean, we call it jokingly, we call this Brooke-a-palooza because really she is the number one star, the drawing attraction here. So it's not going to be easier here, I don't think. But I do sense that there are signs that she's starting to climb out of it. We had a couple of good rounds last week in Portland, so there is some positivity for her. But we'll see if she can put something together and at least get the crowd stirred up here.
Yeah, the T23 last week, opening 65 as well. You mentioned Brooke-a-palooza. For those who haven't been to a CPKC Women's Open to see Brooke in person, how would you describe that atmosphere?
She is the star attraction. It doesn't matter where she is. I'll tell you, a couple of years ago when the tournament was in Ottawa, right by her hometown of Smiths Falls, she teed off on Saturday morning at 9:30, 10 o'clock. She was well back in the pack. And there must have been 10,000 people following her, walking around every shot. She had way more than any other group out there, including the leaders on that day. Now, she did put together a great round. In fact, I think it was a course record, and it was challenging for the title on Sunday. But she's a star attraction, and again, that carries a lot of weight with her that she's had to sort of learn how to handle.
Yeah, and her expectations are sky high for herself. Our expectations are sky high for her. And when you look at some of her stats, 112th in strokes gain approach this season. Her calling card has been her iron game throughout her career. How troubling is that to see that strokes gain approach number where it is right now?
Well, it's troubling for us to see it, and it's frustrating for Brooke. She's talked about it. She's talked about how difficult it's been to try and even find as many fairways as she likes, which gives her the opportunity to hit those shots onto some of the greens. And we don't really know if there's one particular thing that's causing the issues or if there is something in her game or her equipment or whatever it is. She hasn't found that yet, so she's still trying to dig it out. But I guarantee you she's working hard on it. It's not something she likes.
52nd in the Rolex World Rankings right now. But Bob, Brooke isn't the only Canadian here this week at the CPKC Women's Open. Who are some others that fans should be keeping track of?
Well, I think a big one to watch this week would be Aphrodite Ding, who won the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. That is a huge tournament. Now, she's only 15 years old, so she may have a little bit of growing up to do before she reaches her best abilities. But Savannah Gruel is another player who's been playing on the LPGA Tour regularly, starting to show some good signs. She has a lot of tournaments where she'll put together 2 or 3 good rounds, but not necessarily 4, but she's learning on that. And then you got a veteran from just down the road in Hamilton, Ontario, in Elena Sharp. She'll probably be the oldest player in this field, and she is still really hungry to play and perform well. So there's lots of good young players out here, even one from my club at Weston Golf and Country Club, Vanessa Borovilos, who shot that 63 in the first round of the qualifying of the U.S. Women's Amateur, which was the record in that tournament. So lots of great Canadian players, up-and-coming players that you're going to hear a lot more of that you can come out and see here.
And 19 of the top 25 in the Rolex World Rankings, too. This is going to be a great week at the CPKC Women's Open.